Good evening, Belize, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Thursday, December 12, 2024. Making the headlines tonight, Education Ministry commits to paying outstanding allowances and increments for teachers before union deadline. The government secures high-powered attorneys against Belize Peace Movement, and bodies found in Hattieville confirmed to be those of missing Belmopan residents. We take our first break and return with the news in detail.
Zingmas 2024. That's right, it's a Zingmas celebration.
Welcome back. With your news, I am Marisol Amaya. 7 members of the Belize Peace Movement, BPM, have filed an application for judicial review in the High Court as a follow-up to their redistricting case, particularly as an early election seems to be looming on the horizon and no redistricting has occurred as constitutionally mandated. The BPM members are seeking several reliefs, including a declaration that Schedule 1 of the Representation of the People's Act, ROPA, is unconstitutional and undemocratic. They are calling for a declaration that the Elections and Boundaries Commission cannot rely on said schedule until it is made compliant with Section 91 of the Belize Constitution, which sets out that electoral divisions must have as, quote, nearly as may be an equal number of voters eligible to vote, end quote. The claim is dated November 21. The BPM is being represented by attorney Sharon Pitts. As it turns out, the government has gone for high-powered attorneys for representation. It has retained senior counsel Eamon Courtney from Courtney Coie LLP to defend the Attorney General's ministry, and senior counsel Godfrey Smith from Marine Parade Chambers to represent the Elections and Boundaries Commission. We hear from Will Mejia.
Earlier in the year, the Election and Boundaries had made a recommendation and they took it to the House and it's sitting there on a shelf somewhere. It was never debated. So we went back to court because we know that in 2025 there must be an election. And in 2020, the now government promised, like as soon as they get in, they would have redistricting. And it's been 4 years and no redistricting. So we just want that the government do the right thing according to the Constitution. It's the Constitution that's saying so. It's not so us. So we were surprised when they went for the big guns, all these top-notch liars that we, the taxpayers, will have to pay to try and keep the thing wrong, because it's wrong the way it is set up right now, where you have constituencies like Sand Creek West and Toledo East and West, that they are so huge compared to this small Belize City constituency. So, I mean, we just want the government to do the right thing. They promised they would do it in 2020. It's 4 years later, going 5 years later, and they still want to push it back.
Mejia also said they had issues securing legal representation and thanked Sharon Pitts for coming on board.
I want to really applaud Sharon Pitts for taking on the case. I mean, we've contacted a number of Belizean attorneys who, they don't want to piss off the government or things like that, so kind of like backed off. But, Sharon believed that what we are doing is the right thing, and she had taken the court. And I want to use this opportunity to also appeal to any attorney that we may have missed to come join this case, because at the end of the day, this is for Belize. It's not for the peace movement. It is for all of us. And, whenever corruption exists or whenever wrong exists, it's the whole country that suffers. And that's something that we want to avoid.
I know it had been said that for the previous case, you all were going into your own pockets. I'm not understanding that Ms. Pitts will do this pro bono, right?
Right. She's not doing it necessarily pro bono, although she's giving us she's being very, very more than reasonable with us. So we also want to appeal to the Belizean public to really support us so that we could also hire more attorneys, because like I say, at the end of the day, it's about Belize. It's not about Will Mejia. It's not about Paul Morgan. It's about Belize and to correct what has been wrong for the past 15 or 20 years. Because during the Barrow administration, they had also promised that a redistricting would take place, and that never did. The senior administration came in, and he said that when they get in, that there would be redistricting. And we're just like amazed that there's 4 years and no redistricting. So we're appealing to the Prime Minister to do the right thing. I mean, this is not rocket science. We have people we know with today's technology, you could sit right there and do this redistricting thing in a matter of hours.
While the BPM is regrouping to discuss this latest development, Mejia says he'll go to jail if costs are awarded to the government and they can't pay.
Yeah, we've definitely thought about that, but we believe that it's the right thing to do for all of Belize. And if that happens and we have to go to jail, then we will go to jail for doing the right thing. Many people have gone to jail for doing the right thing. And if we have to go to jail because we can't pay those top-notch attorneys, then we will probably have to do that because we definitely don't have that kind of money. But again, we are calling on the Belizean public, all these different organizations to stand with us because it is the right thing, not only for us, but for all of Belize.
Mejia is also appealing on the unions and business community to support the BPM in this cause. He reminded that corruption is bad for the entire country and we need free and fair elections. In response to the deadline of December 31 given by the Belize National Teachers Union BNTU to the Ministry of Education for the payment of outstanding increments and allowances for some teachers, the ministry has committed to getting the payments out by Friday, December 20. The BNTU has announced that if the outstanding payments are not made by the end of the month, they will protest in January. The letter from Monday, December 9 was sent by CEO Diane Mejia. She writes in the very last paragraph making the commitment that, quote, the work to ensure that those teachers who are due increments and allowances has not faltered, end quote. The rest of Mejia's letter focuses on reminding the union about all the assistance that the current administration has provided to teachers, as well as measures it has taken in their benefit. The list includes financial assistance and scholarships, teachers now being able to access NHI land so teachers could become first-time landowners, and a land clinic for teachers, the resolution to Proposal 22 in their collective bargaining agreement that remained unresolved for 15 years, and teachers at the secondary school level receiving allowances previously only available to primary school teachers. The family of two missing Belmopan residents, cousins Marvin Cante and John Raimundo, were called to Hattieville this morning after two decomposing bodies were found in shallow graves in the village Wednesday. The families were asked to identify the deceased, and they were able to positively identify them as their missing loved ones. The men went missing on Wednesday, November 27, on a trip from Belmopan to Belize. Their vehicle was found abandoned the next day on the road to the sanitary landfill at mile 25 on the George Price Highway. Traces of blood were found inside the vehicle, and since then the families had launched an intense search for their loved ones. In other news, Andre Pasihilak is the businessman from Cayo who took it upon himself to launch a dollar fundraising drive to assist the 10 families who lost loved ones last Saturday in a single traffic accident on the Benke Road. On Tuesday, Halak turned over to each family $2,140.50. In total, he received donations of $25,680. We note that Halak had previously committed to donating to an effort organized by Benjamin Garcia to light up the Hawksworth Bridge, to add a more Christmas feel to the town. After the unfortunate incident, Garcia secured approval from some who had already donated to that effort to assist the families who are grieving instead. After the break, Belize hoping for favorable review from Mexico for coconut exports, and despite more jobs, the SIB says the labor force decreased. Stay with us. Welcome back. The news continues. Agriculture Minister Amaya has reported that during his recent trip to Palenque, Mexico, along with Investment Ambassador Jaime Briceño, the Mexican Minister of Agriculture committed to provide a decision in a week's time about the exportation of Belize-produced coconuts. According to Minister Amaya, they had been asking for such assessment since April of this year.
Mexico has agreed to us to export coconut in a certain farm. We have been saying, can we do it in another way, a way that will cost us less maquila, less labor, and can make us competitive. We had asked them since April to do a risk assessment, and they hadn't. During that time, they were going to elections, so I guess that the technocrats didn't want to commit until there was an election. Now the election has happened, there's a new minister, and we said to them, kindly respond. And Dr. Verdegue was very firm. He said, we will respond to you in 1 week. We will look at the pest analysis, and I'm sure after they do that, Belize will be in a very good position to say to them, see, we have no diseases, no pests of quarantine importance that can affect your agriculture, that you will risk anything. There's no risk. And so I am confident that we will do well when that risk assessment is done.
According to Minister Mai, there are currently 20,000 acres of coconuts planted in Belize and counting. According to labor force statistics released by the Statistical Institute of Belize, September 2024 data showed that there were roughly 1,200 new jobs countrywide. However, the labor force, or persons who are able to work, actually decreased by some 1,400 persons. While the SIB does not yet collect data which would explain this decrease, SIB Director General Diana Castillo explained what could be happening.
Mexico has agreed to us.
Yes, there is some information there that we can look at once we have the time to look at it more deeply, because there are different reasons for persons leaving the labor force. Some persons might become discouraged. You might have persons who are aging out and going into retirement. And as we saw when we published our census results, our younger generations are tending to be smaller, and our population is starting to age. So there are different factors that could lead to it. So all we can say for sure at this time is that we saw a gain of about just under 1,200 new jobs, and at the same time we saw about 1,400 people fewer or less in the labor force.
In February this year, ahead of the municipal elections, the Belize Tourism Board, in collaboration with area representative Orlando Habet, initiated the El Cayo Boardwalk project near the Macau River in downtown San Ignacio. There was some disruption in their plans as Twin Towns Mayor Earl Trapp Jr. said he was not consulted beforehand. The problem there is that the property is managed by the San Ignacio Santa Elena Town Council. Nonetheless, construction of the riverside walkway with gazebos and benches proceeded and has now concluded. All the infrastructure was then submerged under the tropical storm Sara floods, as was predicted would happen at some point due to the location. Those waters continue to subside, and now the BTB and Habet are proceeding to inaugurate the project on Saturday, December 14. Mayor Trapp has been invited, but he is asking for a delay, citing that there have been no discussions about a proper management regime that will consider the safety of users, given that the project is in a flood-prone zone. The mayor points out that it is the council which will be responsible for management and maintenance of the infrastructure. On Friday, a tourist from the U.S. tragically died after she fell off a golf cart while traveling with her partner on the Secret Beach Road. Abner Bakab, who is an EMT with Island Emergency Services, believes that the island needs more emergency response vehicles and more qualified medical personnel to respond to emergency cases, particularly trauma. He called out the authorities to make it a priority.
Sometimes can be prevented, sometimes cannot. But we have to have these resources available. For example, the ambulance service being stationed at Secret Beach would have helped greatly in any type of accidents to reach faster to the patient, be able to deliver that pre-hospital care that is much needed, and transport the patient to a clinic or a hospital here in San Pedro. No, So I think having that ambulance there would help greatly in many instances. It doesn't have to be a accident trauma, but in a medical scenario as well, no? So as well, Giovanni, having the right personnel that is trained is very important. So we want to make a call out to the different authorities, Giovanni. You know, me and you have been talking about ambulance service here in San Pedro for many years now. Seems that nobody cares. The Belize Tourism Board, we're the number one tourist destination in the whole country of Belize, giving back so much taxes to the government, yet we are not getting what we need here in San Pedro, no? We're calling on all the authorities, let's together protect and safeguard our tourism industry, which is our biggest breadwinner in the whole country of Belize, you know. We talk about, yes, we have snorkeling, we have diving, we have tours, we have this, we have that, but as well, one of the important factors is actually emergency medical service. When it comes, ambulance service is important. That is part of our tourism product. You know, we need to take care of our tourism.
Bacab was providing emergency services elsewhere on the island and was unable to assist the Secret Beach Road accident victim. However, Bacab has started a fundraising campaign to get a third ambulance on the island and to fix another that also needs repairs. Island Emergency Services offers free ambulatory service to locals. Bacab's plan is to have an ambulance stationed north over the bridge, one downtown, and another south.
Reason why we wanted to put our ambulance there in the case of an emergency, then we're very close to respond faster and be able to take care of the person. Also, it is very important for people working on the ambulance to be certified and licensed emergency medical technician to be able to render the pre-hospital care that is needed to give the patient the best chance of survival to get to the clinic. So it's not only having a vehicle, an ambulance there, but having the right personnel as well, and having them very close as what is our plan of um, having one of our fully equipped ambulance there. No? So the reason we're doing the fundraiser is to gather funds so we can pay for repairs of one of our ambulance and then bring it back to San Pedro and Burgess Key. The approximate cost to get the ambulance would be anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 US dollars. Yeah, that's for repair of a major issue that it has, repair of our air condition, and repair of some body work that it needs. No, yes. Yeah, this ambulance has been out of San Pedro for over a year now. They couldn't fix it. I've been moving it from mechanic shop to mechanic shop until they fixed the main issue. No? Right now, we currently only have one. We have two here on the island, but only one is working. So we have one. That's the reason we want to bring back the other ambulance that is in Spanish Lookout. And then we'll have two fully functional. Then we can take out the third unit to be fixed. And then we can have three fully equipped units here in San Pedro.
If you would like to donate, details are posted on the Island Emergency Services Facebook page. After the break, overnight tourist arrival numbers now surpass previous highs set in 2019. Stay tuned.
at your fingertips.
The year 2019 set the benchmark for overnight tourism success in Belize. The country had been seeing gradual increases leading up to 2019, and the trend was expected to continue. And then there was the pandemic and the discontinuation of international travel for leisure. Since the pandemic, the numbers had been inching closer to 2019's peak. On Wednesday, the Statistical Institute of Belize revealed that for the third quarter of 2024, the numbers are higher than in 2019. Here is Statistician 2, Christopher Hulse.
And then moving into our next slide, we will see why the accommodation industry went up as we observe growth in overnight arrivals from 96.2 thousands of arrivals to 105.3. This is a 9.5% in arrivals. However, in this quarter, we had 6 less cruise ship calls. So naturally, we saw a decrease in the same-day travelers from 138.7 thousands of arrivals for cruise ship to 109.7 thousands of arrivals.
This morning on Creme Radio's Morning Stew Show, 50 Standard 1 to 3 students from St. Luke Methodist Primary School in Belize City received Christmas presents and treats. These children were the first set to benefit from Creme's yearly toy drive. On Friday, another set of children from St. Martin de Porres Primary School will receive their toys and treats. After the event, teacher Gina Lopez spoke of how excited the children were and how grateful they are to have received such treats.
I have a class of 25 students and they're roughly from between 9 to 10 years old. Well, when they were chosen, they were excited. Miss, when we go and why will we be out of class? Miss, will they feed us? Miss, the gifts, they were so excited. Each of us going to get as they're afraid the gifts will go. I had to remind them that the gifts weren't going to go. All of them were excited and anxious. It's like what you said, the hearing. When these kids receive these things, they feel so happy. It's like you're giving them something big. They really appreciate it.
So like they really love it. I would like to say to the sponsors, thank you very much. It really touches my heart to know that these kids are still remembered, they're not forgotten, and that their hard work do pay off. So I really appreciate it, and thank you again.
In sporting news, following a successful tournament in Chetumal, Belize Dark Arts Academy is trying to recruit more women to get involved in the sport. The academy will be offering classes for women only and others just for children, and both would cost $40 monthly. Ronald Hyde, jiu-jitsu athlete and coach, explained what can be expected. Ariane Pastor, who was the only female competing for Belize in the recent competition, encouraged other women to join her.
We're in the process of starting a women's only jiu-jitsu class. More than likely would be 2 times or 1 time a week. However, we really want to reach out to all the females throughout the country, especially in Belize City. Come out, learn self-defense. It's not even just a sport. It's more of a self-defense approach to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I would say the only thing you'll need to purchase would be a mouth guard. You don't want to be biting your tongue. Also, you want to show up with like tight-fitted clothing. You don't want to come to work out in regards to something loose because it'll get hooked up. Also, for those who don't know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not a striking sport like boxing or kickboxing. It's a grappling sport. It's a grappling art whereby the goal is to basically submit your opponent.
Are there other women involved in Jiu-Jitsu in Belize?
Yeah, there are a few, not much, but we have like a couple at our gym, like 3 or 4 maybe. And then at the other gyms, they have a few females as well, but I feel like our gym at Belize Dark Arts Academy, we have the most females in Belize.
And what would you say to encourage other women to consider the sport?
If you're a person who wants to test your strength, your resilience, I would say Jiu-Jitsu is the perfect sport to be involved in. A lot of the times, women think only men can be in these kind of sports, and I totally disagree with that. I have never felt more empowered to be a woman in jiu-jitsu, so I would just tell everybody to give it a shot, and maybe you feel more empowered and inspired to do your best in it.
And the Statistical Institute of Belize recently introduced the Consumer Confidence Index, CCI, where they gather consumers' thoughts on their current financial situations, the national economy, and if they feel those would improve in the coming months. The survey is done over the phone, asking 10 questions that the SIB hopes to eventually be used to gauge the economy in future months. Acting Manager in Economic Statistics at the SIB, Jacqueline Sabal, explained more on the index and how the data will eventually be used.
It's technically a perception study, and we're asking persons how they feel. It's a fairly short survey. It's just 10 questions, and we're asking them how they feel about their household financial situation, general economic conditions, and then also about savings, whether they think prices will increase, if they think unemployment will increase, etc. So it's fairly short. What we want to use the index for is to look at, it should be as like a forecast of what will happen in the future. So for SIB's purposes, because private household consumption is such a major part of GDP, if we're able to find out if persons are feeling optimistic, the belief is that they're likely to spend money, which means economic activity will increase. So if people are optimistic, they're spending more money, economic activity will increase, then you can expect to see economic growth. So what we want to do with the index at the SIB is use it as a gauge for what will happen in the future. We're trying to collect a few more percentage points of data because it's a fairly new survey. I think we're up at about a year now, but we want to have a good data series to make proper trends with, to be able to see if the index is doing what the expectation is of it.
And with that, we have come to the end of our newscast. Our repeat can be viewed on this station later tonight and again tomorrow at midday. Join us again tomorrow for another news broadcast, and at 7:30 right here tonight for day 4 of Zincmas. I am Marisol Amaya. Have a safe and enjoyable evening.